Hi, I'm Ross Easton. I'm the Head of Platform Propositions at Scottish Widows.
And I'm Barry McLennan, CEO of Embark Investments.
Barry, firstly, thank you for taking time to join us today. There's a lot to cover because we're going to try and unpack the wide world of multi-asset investing. And I guess it's been around for a while, but I think it's fair to say that probably the word I would use to describe the growth over the last 10 years is an explosion, because it's grown so quickly and exponentially. What's your sense of what drove that, and what would your observations be of the market today?
Yeah, I mean, certainly you're absolutely right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me along. The last 10 years has seen an explosion in support for multi-asset solutions, whether that's from advisors, wealth managers, or customers directly. Obviously, multi-asset investing goes back way beyond the last 10 years, and I think we go back to sort of modern portfolio theory from the 1950s, and the benefits of diversification and investing across different asset classes sort of spearheaded, I guess, the concept of multi-asset investing. But to more recent times, definitely the RDR, Retail Distribution Review of 2006, and the need for advisors, wealth managers to develop centralized investment propositions for clients really kicked it on. And then obviously as we come more up to date, we've got the Consumer Duty initiative from the FCA, which has just further strengthened the interest in the demand for robust, customer-centric multi-asset investment solutions.
So Barry, there's obviously lots of choice in terms of the solutions that are available in the multi-asset market, and it can be potentially overwhelming for advisors to navigate their way through that. So I'm a traditionalist. I like to stick to the 3 Ps when I'm looking at comparing investments, so price, process and performance. Now for price and performance, I think it's quite straightforward to compare. There's lots of data services out there, lots of tools that you can use. I think process is a little bit more difficult to unpack. So if somebody was to say to you, what do you mean by process and what sort of things should I look for, what would you say?
First of all, I would agree, right? I think, price and performance, enormous amounts of data out there, very easy for most of us and or advisors to be able to slice and dice, because it's a huge opportunity set, isn't it, in terms of the multi-asset solutions out there. Process, you're right, process is more difficult to come by in terms of understanding, but I would suggest that is critical, because understanding what it is that sits behind the proposition in terms of the team, the breadth, the depth of capability, the experience, their track record. Of course, we're not investing with the rear view mirror, right? But it's important for us to understand what drove the performance historically is hopefully in place to deliver good, strong risk-adjusted performance outcomes for clients going forward. So that process piece, you will find lots of collateral, lots of descriptions on providers' websites around how they position the way in which they build and manage multi-asset solutions. There's obviously independent opinion from research and organizations, consultancies, including our own, the Advisor Centre, which can help just provide that extra dimension in terms of an understanding of what are the constituent parts that are used to build and sustain these multi-asset solutions, including the ability to tap into asset allocation expertise, for instance. Because at the lower cost end of the multi-asset space, we might find solutions that have a very fixed approach to a strategic asset allocation and don't really, because of the budget impact of being priced at that end of the market, don't have the luxury of tapping into investment insights to, I guess, drive some tactical asset allocation. The ability maybe over 12 or 18 months to try and just add a little bit of extra value over what might typically be coming through from strategic asset allocation. So these and a whole bunch of other things, we could spend the rest of this discussion, I'm sure, and more looking at process. But for me, it is a critical component, because to buy something simply on price or performance doesn't necessarily, I don't think, give us the confidence that looking ahead, we can expect the same performance experience that has been, as I say, from that rear view mirror perspective.
And Barry, you mentioned Consumer Duty, and from a platform standpoint, we're at a really interesting point in the process, because we are now seeing the outcomes of the first round of value assessments from asset managers having gone through that full cycle. And it's fair to say that in some cases, those value assessments are falling short of what the client could reasonably expect. And as a platform, we can't ignore that. We need to take action and ensure that we avoid foreseeable harm for those clients. I consider us to be really fortunate because we have colleagues in Peter Toogood and Jill Hutchison from the Advisor Centre who are very well connected in terms of relationships with fund managers. And what we're able to get from them is additional insight on what's happening in terms of those funds. And in some cases, it's really changed our thinking, because if we just looked at the outcome of a fair value assessment and thought, okay, we need to soft close that fund, when we've spoken to them and they've said, well, actually what's happened here is that the fund group have changed the mandate, or they've changed the manager, or they've changed the price, they've written to clients to tell them what's happening, actually we need to give that a chance to flow through. And there's a danger that we could overreact and act too quickly in an attempt to try and ensure we're fulfilling consumer duty when actually we're not really being fair on the client or the fund group. So I think it's been really beneficial to us to have access to those resources and to be able to take that more considered stance. And the other thing I would say is that if I look at the fair value assessments for multi-asset funds, they tend to do fairly well. You know, they tend to track very well to their benchmarks. They're delivering exactly against the outcomes that they've committed to for clients. So I think advisors can take confidence from that and know that actually when it comes to multi-asset, the solutions tend to do what they say in the tin, if that makes sense.
It does indeed. I would like to pick up actually on the point you made around the contribution in respect of the assessment of value and value for money work that you and other members of the platform team have been undertaking in partnership with Jill Hutchison and Peter Toogood from the Advisor Centre, because I really believe that in platform space, that distinguishes us from the rest of the market. Having access to that resource, I hope they won't mind me saying it, but the decades and decades of experience that Jill, Peter and the team at the Advisor Centre can bring to bear in terms of giving you and the rest of your colleagues that extra dimension, that extra level of insight in terms of some of the funds that are on platform that are maybe just raising a couple of questions from an assessment of value perspective. I mean, on the Embark Investment side, we're about to start, at the end of May, we'll be starting our 4th assessment of value report. And we've certainly been refining and enhancing that as we've gone through the last 3 iterations. And for me, I think because the guidance is more principles-based, there is quite a significant breadth of interpretation of what should go into an assessment of value report and how providers are measuring themselves against these criteria. So having that level of debate and insight that you, Peter, Jill, other members of the platform team are bringing to bear, I think should be giving advisors and customers an element of confidence that actually the funds, not just those provided by the Lloyds Scottish Widows Embark group that are sitting on the platform, are fit for purpose, but actually you are analysing the third-party funds that sit on platform as well. And I think that puts us in a really strong and positively different position in the platform space.
I totally agree. And we talked earlier on about the importance of understanding process. What the guys at Advisor Centre have brought is they have a genuine understanding of what's going on and what the process is. And we can make smarter and more informed decisions as a result, which we're hugely thankful for.
Absolutely, and to the client's benefit.
100%. Barry, you've obviously done a lot of exciting things in the multi-asset fund space. Any plans on MPS?
Yes. So last year, as some of our listeners may know, we communicated to market that we had an intention to launch an MPS, a Model Portfolio Solutions capability. And it is still a very clear strategic intent for us to do that. But in some of the comments we made earlier, our platform plays host to, as do others, but our platform plays host to a whole range of model portfolio solutions providers. So for us, we're taking our time, we're making sure that the design of that MPS proposition is going to be robust. We would want to be seen as positively different from what else is on the platform. We don't really be wanting taking a Me Too proposition to market. So we'll take our time, but absolutely it's a clear strategic intent for the business to have an MPS capability.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we're in a bit of a golden age in terms of the range of quality and choice that advisors have now got access to in terms of picking solutions for clients. And that's a great place to be as an industry, because this is about creating sustainable and long-term wealth for customers. That's the most important part of the process. But I'd just like to thank you for your time today. It's been welcome. Fascinating getting some insights on this stuff, and hopefully see you again soon.
I hope so too. Thanks very much, Ross.
Thank you.